When it comes to hiring a link building agency, you'll need to properly vet them just as you would when outsourcing any aspect of your marketing. And when it comes to something like link building, it may seem pretty straightforward enough, right? That it's just a case of how many links you're getting and how much it's going to cost. It's not always that simple. I've had negative experiences with SEO agencies myself, and now that I run an agency, I've had people come to me specifically because of negative experiences with other link building agencies. So if you want to save yourself from burning a lot of time and money, keep watching to find out the things that you should know before you hire a link building agency. I'm Amit from The Links Guy. This is the place for marketers and business owners to get advice about the world of link building. Our agency spent over 7 years tweaking our processes and refining our link building to the point where people reach out to me and hire us because our approach to link building is different to the vast majority of agencies in this industry. We've had a lot of business owners and experienced marketing experts hiring TLG because they asked certain questions which we had the answers to but others didn't. So if you want to learn exactly what kind of questions you should be asking, keep watching. Okay, so first up, how exactly are they building the lists of websites where they're going to get you a link on? Now, you may get a very simple answer here and people may use different techniques to prospect their targets, as long as it's a logical way of determining what's relevant to your website and content. Now on the flip side, if the lists are completely pre-built, they seem to be collecting a random collection of websites without explaining where they're from, or they can only report live links at the very end of the month, that's a warning sign that they're simply just buying or outsourcing all of the link building, or they're using some kind of network. Automated outreach can get links purely because it is a numbers game to some extent. If you reach out to 1,000 websites, you will get some links. Now an automated setup will find situations where they get the lower hanging fruit. Simply by chance the email hit the right note with the right target, or it's a paid link, for instance, and then the email content doesn't really bother them. But I'd argue to scale up and get the best quality links possible and consistently, there will have to be some manual input from an actual human being at some point in the process, and that's just because they'll need to make some kind of personal connection with the decision maker on the other end, and even at prospecting level that's required. There's no amount of sophisticated tools or software that will truly automate an outreach or a prospecting campaign. You need a decent sized team to build a volume of links. So for me, heavy automation equals mediocre links. The links should all come from unique referring domains, and if you're continually just getting links from the same domain, it just won't have the same kind of link juice or link equity as the same number of links but all from unique domains. That's why you can't outperform competitors purely with the volume of links. Now, a little known fact is you might find this issue if you work with digital PR agencies who are either getting links from the same list of journalists, or they're using PR platforms like Harrow or Connectively or Featured. What you tend to find is there'll be a limited pool of sites or publications, and subsequent campaigns after that will just keep yielding the same links over and over again. And PR agencies may even report syndicated links, so you get one link in a regional newspaper but it gets syndicated in a bunch of other news websites, and it might have some impact, but inevitably there is some dampening effect on the link equity when it's syndicated. So relevancy has to be a key point at the forefront of any link building campaign, both to rank for the correct keywords and to drive relevant traffic. Now, many in the industry do employ the use of metrics to assess the ranking ability of a website, whether it's DA, trust flow, etc. But all of this is meaningless if the website, the page that the link is situated on, is not relevant in any way. And if it's not relevant, then it kind of begs the question, how exactly did it get placed? Consistent, irrelevant links links with irrelevant anchor text usually means a complete reliance on paid links, or it's just being outsourced and there isn't any quality checks being done. Let's take this a step further as well. I mean, are they measuring relevance only in terms of the page that the link's placed on, the niche of the entire website, or the target audience of that target website? Now, those are all different degrees of relevance and they all impact the quality of the link in different ways, but that's something you want to determine as well and ensure that you're on the same page as your agency. There are a huge variety of link types out there, and what's best for you will depend on your industry, your service, your product and your content. If they're aiming to get you guest post opportunities, be aware that it will require having to write articles for each spot. If it's a product based business, then they may try and get you some review posts with industry influencers, but then that might mean you have to send product or product samples to the influencer or blogger, which can mean more costs. But there could be an opportunity to gain links using resource page outreach, broken links, the skyscraper tactic, or similar techniques. For instance, we worked with a client and I ended up getting them 39 very powerful links from local government or council websites, which were really authoritative links to have, and if we were an agency that only offered guest post strategy, we would have missed that. So just make sure that the agency that you're hiring is skilled enough to know when to use those tactics to best effect. So not just going into link building campaigns with a cookie cutter approach, but going into it with the mentality that it needs to be tailored to your website and using strategies to get the most out of your campaign. If you're an expert in your own field or you know your customer base inside out, you're probably best placed to know the type of content that you need. But any link builder worth their salt should themselves bring up the topic of content or linkable assets. If not, I'd probably wonder how they expect to actually build links. It's a huge part of link building and it's going to directly impact how successful the outreach campaigns will be. However, like myself, the vast majority may not create all your content for you, but they can help you come up with ideas for the type of content that will increase your chances of getting the best links. Also, if you're doing guest posts, just remember to make sure that they'll be creating the content ideas which they're going to be using to entice editors to accept an article. You also want to ensure those content ideas that are created are going to be relevant enough for your site to have a link in them, so they can bridge the gap between being relevant for the editors and the website being approached, but it's still relevant enough for your brand to be linked to and mentioned in. That's a tricky balance for people to get right. Okay, so this is precisely why a lot of people are turned off by any kind of SEO work. They don't know exactly what is being done. At least with link building, there's no reason why it can't be fully transparent. You'll want to see perhaps the kind of websites that the team or the freelancer is going to reach out to. You'll want to see which targets are looking promising, and you may also want to see if there are any guest posts that have been agreed, links that have gone live or are going to go live. Now, if everything seems to be under wraps and you don't see any action and then suddenly the entire link quota has gone live instantly, that's kind of a red flag. Probably one of the first questions you'll have in mind, but there is a warning attached to this. If you're going through a list of link builders and somebody guarantees you a larger number than everyone else, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should go with them. In fact, offering a very high number should be viewed with caution. It's all dependent on the content you have, your particular industry, how targets react to the content, which determines how many links you're going to get. How well the link builder performs in their outreach is also key, but no matter how good the link builder is, they can't extract any number of links from badly made content. If you don't have any usable content though, you could still get sponsored links, get links via guest posts, or use tactics like unlinked brand mentions. Okay, so this is a much disputed area when it comes to paid links, but I'll lay out my philosophy. Okay, so technically paid links are against Google's terms of services if the link is not tagged with the sponsored tag or made no follow. And I would say any service or facility online which just sells links without discrimination to anyone and anywhere, or they advertise the fact they do that openly, is pretty much a no-go area with regards to this type of link building that we're doing. If a site will link to anyone someone who gives the money and they don't assess the content or the value of what they have to offer probably means you'll be sharing the same link space as some very spammy, questionable sites. Fact is, there will be situations where you've seen an article which is relevant to your content piece, you've manually reached out to somebody like the editor or the owner of the website, and after assessing your content or your guest post, they agree to link to you, but only after you pay a fee. Now, if the page was good enough and it's relevant enough for you at the start, then it shouldn't necessarily change your thinking just because it's sponsored. And in some industries, it is just a necessary part of getting links, and there may not be much scope for getting free links for some of them, for instance the gambling sector, binary trading, etc. But the right link builder should be happy to discuss this particular area in advance with you, so you can make an informed decision about whether you want to use paid links or not. So needless to say, if all the previous questions hit the right notes, then there shouldn't be any reason not to go ahead and hire them, but you do really want to clarify if they personally think that any of their work could possibly put you at risk. And if they do think there is some inherent risk of a penalty, for instance, then alarm bells should be ringing. Are they offering a guarantee of some sort? Now, bear in mind that factors such as traffic increase and especially sales, that can be hard to predict, so don't be surprised if you struggle to find a link builder who can guarantee those. You know, that would be quite rare. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel right now. Just click on the subscribe button below this video. I really hope this video helped doing your due diligence on selecting the right agency to outsource your link building to. If you have any more suggestions that I might have missed, please let me know by leaving a comment below right now. And if you need an agency that can answer all these questions, then please reach out to the agency I run, thelinksguy.com, and we'd be happy to talk about how we can help.